All I need is one mic.
To kick us off, since we're here celebrating poetry, this is the one that I dedicated to Cool B. So here goes. And I can't remember if I cried when I read about his widowed bride. Something touched me deep inside. The day that poetry dies, the day that poetry dies, the day that poetry dies is the day that I die. Because if writing is my only vice and the words do not suffice, then all forms of expression must cease to exist. Because poetry alone cannot resist the fall of the spoken, broken, written, read, and erased, beaten, and battered word. If I cannot write in poetic verse about abstract, concrete, metaphorical perks provided by a government near you, then what am I left with but a blank page, purging passionate pleas of remorseful regret, screaming, fill me up to make yourself whole. Write the words in blood or you'll bleed the words you need to write, because if we continue to kill rhythm and rhyme, sonnets and soliloquies, iambic pentameter, pastorals and elegies to replace the instruction of phonics for the learning of ebonics, then we will soon have no use for Pope or Pietri, Shakespeare or Byron, Lorca or Cisneros, writers of another generation. This generation is lost in a pixelated Pixar high definition, no resolution society that perpetrates reality nightly. So begin to say goodbye to all the Spanish American and New Yorican pies, because where we once heard the words of poets years before, we can now only listen to the overused ringtones of hip-hop phrases, the senseless monotony of Spears, Aguilera, and Avril Lavigne's pop culture bubblegum phases, all hollow girls with nothing to say. But then, one day, I met a girl who wrote the blues, and I said, Lauren, please tell me some news. And in disguise, she just smiled and replied, the revolution is only being televised. It is not live, it is not alive, it is only taking lives. And I still can't remember if I cried when I read that Sergeant Charles Katowski had died. Because the art of print is dying, the art of print is dying, the art of print is dying, the love for real words is fading, but my desire to write is not waning, it's only gaining memento. But the faster I write, the less I have to say, because I'm so afraid they're going to take my pen away. Because it's poetry, no one feels like reading anymore. But I know I'll go back to all those sacred stores, sacred bookstores, places where people used to buy good books before, but the poetry books don't sell anymore, and the poetry books don't sell anymore, and the poetry books don't sell anymore, and I call it murder out in these streets, where the children will cry and the lovers will scream, but the poets, no, the poets will no longer be able to dream. And the three men I admire the most, my father, Pinheiro, and Langston's ghost, all caught the last train for the coast. The day that poetry died, the day that poetry died, the day that poetry died. So, bye-bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys are drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die. Writer, then he said, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. And mankind has been able to, has decided or created hospitals in order to prevent death, prolong life. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, as someone living with chronic illness, that a hospital is no place to get better. Scrubs and sanitizers, x-rays and echoes, an EKG and an MRI. Needles and nurses poking and prodding, blood draws, IV drips, blood pressure machine and finger sticks. Blood sugar, pinpricks, ER visit turned hospital admittance. It begins at 9 p.m. Knock on the door every 15 minutes. 9:15, temperature check, 98.4, no fever yet. 10 p.m., weight check, 137.3. A false sense of security. 11 p.m. shift change. Can everyone please just go away? I'm the new nurse. How are you feeling? Why are you here? Heart palpitations, shortness of breath, lupus scleroderma, a pain in my chest, thyroiditis, hypertension, and gas. Isn't it on my chart? I don't know what to tell you people anymore. Yes, I know. Okay. Call if you need anything. I'll be right out the door. 11:30 nurse practitioner. Where does it hurt? What brought you here? Heart palpitations, shortness of breath, lupus scleroderma, a pain in my chest. 12 a.m. On a scale of 1 to 10, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. 1 a.m., pop a few pills. Worry about the medical bills later. Right now you need to rest, but Nurse Paige likes to chatter. 2 a.m. to 4, in and out, in and out. Knock on the door. How are you doing? What do you need? 5 a.m. new tech. Wow, you're too young to be here. 6 a.m. room service calls. Order your breakfast now. No sodium, no carbs, no sugar, no dairy. Just give me the special, please, and let me rest in peace. 7 a.m. housekeeping knocks. Clean your room, change the sheets, sweep the floor. Please turn off the light, I just want to sleep. 8 a.m. shift change. My name is Merlinda. I'm your nurse till 7. Machine pumps, machine beeps, IV drips, temperature check, needle sticks, blood draw, breathe in, breathe out, blood pressure check. Everything looks fine. 8:30. Doctors make the rounds and crowd around the bed. How are you feeling? What brought you here? Heart palpitations, shortness of breath, lupus scleroderma, a pain in my chest. On a scale of 1 to 10, breathe in, breathe out. Any discomfort there? I shake my head, they exit. A moment of silence for the night's end. I look around the room and breathe in and breathe out. I cannot change what has happened, but I can control the now. So I watch the sun peek through the curtain, sit up in bed exhausted, turn the lights on, and give up on rest. And really there is no rest because we're constantly bombarded by social media. And it's all around us all the time, alerting us of who posted a status update, who shared a picture, who tagged us, etc. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those people. Because I share everything on Facebook. When I sleep, when I eat, when I'm tired, hungry, achy, annoyed, happy, sad, or scared. My 276 closest friends know all about my dreams and fears. Because I share everything. From how many pills a day I take to the color of my nails. If I think it, I post it. If I feel it, you'll read about it. I'm not a very private person because I share everything. On my blog, on my Facebook, my website, but not my Twitter because I refuse to be limited by the set number of characters. After all, I have way too much to say. Because I share everything. Except for this one thing. And this one time when I chose to share nothing. And you called me on it. You said, Jasmine, what are your thoughts on Trayvon Martin? Jasmine, why have you not posted on Trayvon Martin? Jasmine, what are your feelings on Trayvon Martin? And I paused, because in that moment, I wanted to find the emoticon that virtually represented me bitch slapping you across the room. But I didn't respond to you then, and I still didn't post a status update about Trayvon Martin. I stayed silent. I stayed silent and I didn't share. I didn't share because the 2x4 box that Facebook gives me to update my status would have exploded on your screen with all I have to say about Trayvon Martin. Because my status update about Trayvon Martin has nothing to do with George Zimmerman's verdict, Skittles, Florida, or the 6 women jury members. My status update about Trayvon Martin is about redefining the answer to the one question I was so certain about. December 2011, status update. Me and the Hobbs are trying to make a baby. 36 likes, 2 comments. Comment number 1, what do you want to have? Reply comment 2, a boy. July 2013, status update. Still trying to make a baby. 23 likes, 1 comment. What do you want to have? And there is no reply from me. Because suddenly, I don't know. Because my son will be brown, or maybe he will be black. Either way, too dark to go unnoticed on a dimly lit street, but always to be ignored by those in authority. Everything is stacked against the unborn hypothetical son I am afraid to give life to. If he can't read by grade 3, he's headed for prison. If he looks like me, someone will eventually call him a nigger. If he looks like his daddy, they'll want to see his papers. No one expects him to graduate high school. Everyone's afraid he'll succeed. He'll either be a scared brown boy with ADD or grow up to be an angry black man because of his slave ancestry. He's already an ABC special on Good Morning America. Just another YouTube video meme gone viral. His story is a Huffington Post article you didn't bother to read. And his struggles are the news reports you choose to ignore, and yet I share everything. Remember? But I didn't share this. Because my hypothetical son and his hypothetical life and my hypothetical fears of his future is an American status. It is the status of a nation and not mine alone. I cannot confine what I feel about Trayvon Martin to a 2x4 box on your screen because my hypothetical son may one day be Trayvon Martin. And we've already put too many brown and black men in boxes and on screens just for your viewing pleasure. I cannot share my thoughts about Trayvon Martin because I want to have a son, but I don't need you to know that I'm terrified of the world he'll grow up in. That I worry he'll be judged, jailed, or just mistaken as a threat. I will not share a status about Trayvon Martin just because I'm a colored woman and I must have something to say. I will not share a status update about Trayvon Martin just so you can have something to like. I will not share a status update about Trayvon Martin precisely because you expect me to. will not share a status update about Trayvon Martin because my motherly instincts tell me to let him rest in peace. And even though I share everything, I did not share this, because my status update about Trayvon Martin has nothing to do with justice or the jury, and everything to do with all the other unnamed black and brown boys the world isn't talking about. More women than men die of heart disease each year. The heart does not actually ever break. It beats, it pumps, it pushes and pulls, but the heart does not actually ever break. 4 chambers left and right 300 grams, a small fist full of blood. I was 13 once. I felt it throb, I felt it ache because he didn't love me. Unrequited romance left me daydreaming with cardiovascular convulsions that threatened to take my breath away. But the heart doesn't actually ever break. Like a drum, doesn't stop, only skips a beat. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in American women. I lost someone I love, in the ground, only the sound of my own life force throbbing in my ears, and the heart that won't actually ever break. 100 beats per minute, pericarditis fluid flowing from mechanized membranes, and there were tubes tied to the failing rhythm of the tamponade cardiac cavity that thrummed and strummed beneath my hospital sheets. Tachycardiac trauma left untreated, and my heart that didn't actually ever break. Hispanic women are more likely to develop heart disease 10 years earlier than Caucasian women. It beats, it pumps, it pushes, it pulls, it tugs at strings, it tightens, it tenses, it hurts, it aches, but the heart doesn't actually ever break. You left. I cried. It grew fonder, a palpitating presence that pumped in my pupils and shivered down my spine, sending electrical shocks and spasm to the left and right mucosal ventricles now filled with regret, and pumped through the heart that pushed and pulled and whimpered and weakened but didn't actually ever break. Women with a history of heart disease are more likely to suffer from depression. I rocked a child once, left and right in my womb of the heart. They found not a trace, not a face, not a name was given to the silent hum of the funeral drum for the life that never was. It beats, it pumps, it pushes, it pulls, it beats, it pumps, it pushes, it pulls, it hurts, it aches, it stops. But the heart doesn't actually ever break. So there seems to be like a motif or a theme going. Almost every night, someone has brought up their, oh, this is gonna be rough. I will cry. I'm just putting that out there right now. Their mother or their father. The ladies have done some really beautiful pieces about their moms, and the guys have done some beautiful pieces about their dads. So I thought, well, my mom is here, and I have this piece, which is gonna be in the memoir, forthcoming memoir that is getting published. I will not. It's gonna happen. So, just be ready. Santo Domingo smiles. This is not my story to tell. It is her life, and only she knows the truth behind it. But my mother's tongue belongs to the island. If she were to tell you about the things she knows, her cloudy English would make it all seem like a lie, and you would hate her for betraying your notions of what you think sunny island days and juicy mango nights are really like. So instead, I will purposely fail to do my research for fear of opening wounds that would leak poverty and salt water. Instead, I will piece together this story by collecting abandoned pictures, spying on the memory of clanky coffee cup Sunday mornings, and reading stolen letters written in a language even my mother has forgotten. You see, I want to send her home so she can smile again. I want to have the money to build her a big house in El Campo with a generator that will always work, and water pipes that will never leak so she can feel peace again. But I know that even if I did, she would define me like a spoiled child, because my mother cannot be still. I know this because of her erratic cleaning sprees at 3 a.m. I know this because she is compelled to mop the kitchen every single day. I know this because the picture of her wearing tight leather pants, straddling a motorcycle reveals to me that she was, is, and still wants to be adventurous. She believes in a God that is merciful, but she doesn't understand the pain or the poverty. She met my father and fell in love with hope and opportunity. He left her for boot camp alone in a dark, damp city where she cried herself to sleep, holding his letters that promised brighter days to come. She built the heart of a home with a bottle of Pine Sol, a frying pan, and a rosary. Her alma bleeds for her Americanized children, and her tears rain on palm trees she cannot see. If she loved someone before Papi, I will never know. If she had bigger dreams of fame and fortune, I will never know. If she wanted to be something more than just my mother. I don't have the courage to ask. If I could send her back to the Santo Domingo that used to smile on her olive skin and make her laugh, I would. But my mother has lost some and won some, and I cannot let her down, but she needs more than what I can give her. She needs fresh coconut milk to nourish her soul like holy water. She needs fresh island breezes to tickle her neck like a first kiss again. She needs the dance of a merengue to rock her to sleep so she can dream again. My mother longs for the past like she fears for the future, praying in silence, believing in miracles, and always feeling like she left herself behind. And yet, I must remember that this is not my story to tell. Dominicano soy, de mis raíces yo no voy a olvidarme. Soy de una raza tan humilde y tan grande, montecristeño por la gracia de Dios. Dominicano soy, my dirt, mi tierra, as seen by the eyes of an outsider, is poor, sad, and desperate, bleak, broken, and desolate. My people, mi gente, live with no running water. The heat of the sun burning and tainting their Spanish-colored flesh into Haitian, Jamaican, African soul. The trees echo the cries of starving children and the sorrows of fallen women. But my dirt, mi tierra, is much more than a third world country on the verge of assimilation and dissipation. It is drum beats, keeping rhythm with heartbeats. It is a three-string guitar playing old-school bachata. Es una guira adding flavor to Mami, el negro está rabioso, quiere pelear conmigo, decíselo a mi papá. My dirt, mi tierra, needs not the sweat of mis tíos and mis abuelos drenching the parched, putrid pavement, or the agua de coco, 2 pesos, agua de coco, 2 pesos, suffocating the streets of El Malecón. It can survive without foreign tourists, 5-star resorts, and the colonization of Mickey D's, KFCs, and SUVs. It can thrive on the fresh mangoes falling from trees, los plátanos verdes deep fried in grease, and the sweet, strong taste of Mama Juana. Santo Domingo, Santiago, y Puerto Plata pulsate and radiate, stagnate, and disintegrate. The song of these people is heard inside La Bodega, on the hills of El Campo, and on the rooftops of El Barrio. Ojalá que llueva café en el campo. Sí, yes, que caiga un aguacero de yuca y té, so that all may be fed. Give them a name and a face, a religion of strength and decision. My dirt, mi tierra, runs wild with mujeres en la calle, hombres emborrachados, and barefoot boys batting baseballs with broomsticks in el ensanche. My dirt, mi tierra, is rich with cultura and deprived of justicia. My people, mi gente, remain seated on the seesaw of ignorance and independence. But even with all their pain and sorrow, there is one thing from America these people do not need to borrow. Because you see, my dirt, mi tierra, fully understands que ay, no hay que llorar, que la vida es un carnaval y las penas se van cantando. And although the land, the music, the colors of the flag, Dios, patria y libertad, is all they have, life, love, freedom, y esperanza courses through the veins of Santo Domingo, Santiago, y Puerto Plata.